to We Used to Live Together. I'm Hannah.
I'm Kris.
And we
used to live together.
Hi.
Hi.
What's good, my dude?
Have you ever had pho?
Yes.
Have you ever had ramen?
I have.
I was thinking about this week because I had some coworkers who were going out to lunch. There was one group that went out to get ramen and one group that went out to get pho.
Oh.
And I was thinking to myself, which one do I like more?
Mm-hmm.
And do you have one for you?
Yes.
I have one for me.
Okay.
Should we say it at the same time?
Yeah.
Which one that we like if you couldn't eat the other thing for the rest of your life, like if it was one or the other for the rest of your life, this is what you're going to choose.
Yes.
Okay. 3, 2,
two,
1.
pho.
Oh, really? Yeah. I thought you were going to say ramen.
No.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wait, truly. What do you love about pho?
I feel like pho is almost lighter to me.
Yes.
I love ramen.
No, love.
Like
yeah,
I would not say no.
I
go get
I don't
ramen.
ever say no to ramen. Yeah.
But I feel like pho is just a little bit lighter.
Yes.
I love the basil.
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about
it's
it.
the broth, I think is what you're saying. It's like the broth it feels like clean, just a very clean, homey, hearty broth that might have healing powers.
I truly, whenever I start to feel sick, I get pho. So,
and that's not a dig on ramen.
No.
It's like we love both.
We love
but
both.
if we had to choose,
we can hold both.
Both can be true. So yeah, I love ramen, and I think ramen is just like a little richer in like the ingredients that they use. So it's delicious. Mm-hmm. But if I had to choose one or the other for the rest of my life, I think I would choose pho. And again, that's not a dig on the other. It's just, that's what I would choose. Yeah. And you would choose the same.
I would.
Well, mystery solved. What's good, my dude?
I don't know if you've ever experienced this because you don't have a pet, but if there's any roomies out there that have a pet and relate to this, please let me know. But having to take your pet to the vet is the absolute worst.
Are you talking about your daughter?
Yeah, my daughter Leslie, Leslie Cat Nope, and my other daughter Ann Perkins.
You took both of them to the vet?
No, I had to take Leslie.
Oh, okay.
But it's like the worst. I hate it.
Wait, what happened?
So she has like those skin allergy things.
Yes.
Yeah. So it came back. So we had to like go in and get her checked out again.
Yeah.
But it's like the process of getting her into the cat carrier. And I just always feel like I'm lying to her because I have to,
you're tricking her.
I put little treats in there to get her in there and then I got to trap her in.
Yes.
And then I pick up the cat carrier. She's like meowing like a mad woman.
Yeah.
And then I got to drive her there and she's
like, Mom, what are you doing?
Freaking out in the car. Yeah. And then you have to put her on the little table at the doctor's office.
Are you in there with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's just like
shaking.
So scared. And just luckily she's not aggressive. Anne is very aggressive at the vet.
She'll like swipe with her claws.
Leslie like goes into freeze mode where she just kind of like stays there and then she's shaking and like it's just so sad. And then they had to give her like a shot that helps with the allergies. Mm-hmm. And then they also took her blood just because we haven't done blood work for her in a while. Yeah. And so they did it on both of her back legs. And so they had to put bandages up, right? Like where they took the blood and stuff. And so when I brought her home and like brought her out of the cat carrier, she didn't know how to like use her back legs because they were like all bandaged up. So she's just like
flopping about.
It was so sad. And now Anne hates her right now because she smells like the vet. Yeah. Literally, it's just a nightmare, and it breaks my heart. And I cried on the way home in the car.
Did they figure out what the cause was or anything? Or
I don't know yet.
Oh, you don't have anything yet.
But like, I can't be the only pet parent that feels that way.
I'm sure you're not.
It's torture.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell them. I feel like with kids, not to compare.
Not to compare with actual human
animals.
Children. But we know what it's like.
I just feel like with a human, you can be like, we're going to the doctor, but I'm not going to leave you here.
Oh, like you can
like Leslie could have been like, is she just not
right?
You know,
because they understand your language. So you
anyway, it was traumatic. Right. And I literally texted Lorenzo while I was at the vet. I'm like, I can't be on vet duty anymore. Take me off of vet duty.
Yeah, no,
I can't do it.
I can't be the parent.
That has to be you.
Yeah.
And then it made me think like, if we ever have kids, what will I be like?
I think that's like you said, it'd be different.
I hope so.
you would want to be at the human doctor for your kids.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, that wasn't really good, but it was a dude.
Well, that's a perfect segue into our main event today.
I'm nervous for today
because and it's perfect timing too, because this episode drops on Good Friday, which rolls into Easter. Mm-hmm. So for our main event today, Hannah and I will be sharing our history with faith, with church, and all of that good stuff, all the related topics there. And I thought it would be good if we did it in segments. We will do we'll look at our past, our present, and our future relationship with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So if you hear us get emotional, is that what you're going to say? Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is obviously, a very emotional topic,
right.
So we just want to acknowledge that up front.
Totally.
And these are just our stories, our
experiences. Yeah, and this is we're not putting out any kind of statement or anything. We're just saying this is our own personal stories and histories with church, with Christianity and all of that.
Yeah,
so,
and we felt like it'd be important just because we've referenced it a lot in previous episodes.
It's actually how we met.
Yes. It is a big part of our story as friends and roomies and all of that. So it just feels like a natural episode for us to put out.
Like we said, it's perfect timing because Easter is here, and
he is risen.
He is risen indeed. I'm dead. You want to kick us off?
Sure.
So past, present, and future. Okay. So we'll each do our past.
We'll bounce back.
Yes.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So I officially became a Christian, meaning I was baptized when I was 17. Mm-hmm. But before then, I had grown up around the church. Most of my aunts and uncles, cousins, there's a chunk of them that are Christian, a chunk that was Catholic. Mm-hmm. So I was aware of church and what that looked like, but we were never really in a church. There was a season,
your immediate family wasn't?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a good season of my life where we were going to Catholic church for a while. I actually got my first communion.
Ayo,
shout out.
Hey, okay.
And I was doing my first confirmation, or was it confirmation?
Uh-huh.
I was going through
Catechism,
that.
Maybe?
I was going through that. So, heyo.
Wait, so you didn't have to do this when you went
no,
up to get
I got
communion?
to get that
that
body
bread
of
and that
Christ. I got... God, we can't talk about this.
Do this.
I'm sorry, guys.
We're trying to be super serious, but sometimes you just gotta laugh. Okay.
Just laugh about it. Anyway, so there was a big chunk of my life where I was going to Catholic church. Mm-hmm. And then I started working at a summer camp, which I've talked about before, but the camp wasn't a Christian camp, but there was a lot of elements that my uncle, who was the director of the camp, kind of integrated within how the camp ran. And a lot of the counselors were Christian too. And I was 15 when I started working there, and all the other counselors were 18 and super cool. And so I really looked up to them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of, and when I was 15 is kind of when I started thinking more about it. And then throughout high school, I met some friends that brought me to church. So I started going to I'm not going to say the name of the church, but it was a Christian church in the area. And I got to go to Mexico and work at an orphanage. Oh. And then I got really involved with the youth group there. And that's when I decided to become a Christian. So I got baptized, and I was so invested. I went all in. I decided that since I was baptized now, the only college option was a private Christian university.
Oh gosh.
That I needed to go to one of those to really grow my faith. And so I ended up going to a private Christian university. I don't even know if you know this, but I have my my minor in Bible.
You do?
Yeah.
Whoa, Pastor Hannah.
Hey.
Wow.
So yeah, my minor's in Bible, and is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so did a lot of stuff, and I actually really loved my time at this college because it was a non-denominational school, and they really did a good job at like teaching you how to think versus like what to think. So they gave you the space to like ask questions, do your own research.
That's actually really important.
Yeah, it was like, I feel like pretty progressive for a private Christian university. But yeah, we did a lot of like I had to take a lot of theological classes. We had to write exegeticals, and like we had chapel every Thursday.
This is the first I'm hearing this from you.
We had chapel every Thursday. Like it was, you know, it was a lot. I had a really good time there.
Wow.
And throughout that too, like we were still going to church on Sunday, which is where we met.
Right. That's where we met.
We started going to that same church. And then, we went, Lorenzo and I went there for a while, I want to say. And
you guys got pretty involved too, I think.
We got pretty involved. Yeah, I was kind of helping out with the youth group sometimes. Like Lorenzo was doing like the sound
stuff,
and so we got pretty involved, and we established like a really fun community at that church where it was a group of us. We'd always hang out. We had a Bible study or a life group that we would go to weekly too.
Life groups. That's so funny.
And it was really fun. And then I think I don't know if are we getting into like the downfall or
well, no, let me tell my history.
Okay.
First. So downfall.
I mean,
oh no, hang on. Let's work up to that. I grew up in the church from an early, I think we probably have similar stories where, I grew up in the church and was into all, well, I don't know, because I became a Christian at a much younger age. Actually, this is kind of, it's cringe, but not cringe. It's like, I remember, you know what Harvest Crusades are?
Yeah. I've been to some.
We used to go all the time when I was a kid, and that's where I became a Christian. when Greg Laurie was like,
ask everyone to go down on the field.
Come on down to this field. 11-year-old Kris was like, I should probably do this.
Yeah.
So I went down there, and that's when I became a Christian. And then we started, from then on, I feel like, if my memory serves me correctly, that's when we really started going to church, and like on a regular basis, like we would go, well, at least like my parents would go, my mom and my stepdad would go, like we would go Sunday, and they would like do midweek Bible study. So it's like, it was always in the house, like just like the idea of church and God was always in the house. Would pray before every meal and all that. So pretty much grew up as a Christian up to now even, so it has carried all this way. And I don't think I really tried to make it my own faith until maybe after college. And that's I think that's the reason why, that's how we met at that church, is like I was like, okay, I'm an adult now, what am I going to do with this thing that I was raised with, that it wasn't necessarily mine when I was younger, right? Because it was like my parents were like, oh no, we're going to church. Like I didn't have a choice, right? So it's like, we're going to church, we're going to do these things, that's blah blah blah, right? So it wasn't until after college I was like, okay, no one is telling me now, no one is making me do this. It's like, if I'm going to do it, it's got to be my own decision. So that's when I got connected with a Bible study, the Bible study that we would go to at our friend's house. And then I got connected with that church. And then I started serving at that church as a youth leader, as a worship leader. And that's when you guys started going. Was I already doing stuff when you guys started?
You were.
So that's where our story begins, because technically we met that day at the movies.
Right.
But then we really developed a friendship in this community, this church community, when we started going to that church together and serving at that church. So that's the history there. Do we want to go deeper? I feel like I'm talking about like on a spiritual level. Do we want to like,
I think so,
dim the lights, get the worship music going?
Yeah, let's dim the lights.
Like, you want to open in prayer? Joking. But, or do you, is there anything deeper that you want to say about our past history with this? Yeah,
well, I mean, spoiler alert, I'm currently not going to church. So there's something like that happened over time.
Right. Do you want to talk about it later on then, maybe?
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that from a very young age, I was aware of God in in like a very real sense. So I knew that there was something there, and I don't think there was ever a time where I didn't.
Yeah.
Where I wasn't. Maybe I wasn't like a Christian in like, you know, in terminology or whatever, or in title, but like I was always aware of a presence. And that's all I want to say about that. Yeah.
How did that like affect your upbringing? Or is that too deep?
No, in terms of like what?
I don't know, like growing up, because I didn't really grow up in a church. I'm just wondering like.
No, I think it if anything, it probably helped because I grew up in a very strict home. So if anything, having a relationship with God provided some sort of solace or hope for me, like that it would not always be that way. So whatever kind of needs that weren't being met, you know, physically or emotionally. No, I'm sorry, not physically. We always had like, you know, physical needs met. I'm talking about emotional, spiritual needs. Yeah. Like either from a parent or from whatever, like I think it was probably foundational that I had that my own personal, even as a small child, you know, had that connection with God, because that probably carried me through a lot of it.
Yeah.
But you're saying you didn't have that until later. Later, like in your teens.
Later, yeah. I think in my teens, it was really good for me at the time because it was like it kept me busy. It helped me meet like really cool people. But like looking back on it, I think it did more damage than it did.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that then. Okay. So let's shift then into our current, that's perfect segue into our current state or relationship with church and God. So go ahead, kick it off.
Oh my, this is the part I'm so nervous for because I think it makes me scared to talk about because I don't fully know even where I'm at. You know what I mean?
No, then that's fine. Yeah. I don't think we're here to really answer questions. We're here to just say what
we're at. Yeah. I think so. It was really during the pandemic, probably at the start, like the church we were going to, they stopped doing like in person, right? For a little bit.
Right. We shifted to virtual.
Like a virtual thing.
Or YouTube or whatever it was. Yeah.
So Lorenzo and I had stopped going to church probably like a couple months before everything shut down. And then once COVID happened, it was like we were just uninterested anymore. Right. And for me, I don't know what it was. I think I was just getting a little exhausted and there was a lot of like guilt and shame I was working through. And I had started going to therapy, which is like, I was kind of unpacking all of this stuff. And so I decided I just needed a break, to kind of work through all of that. And then the world shut down and all of this crazy stuff started happening. And it was just like, I mean, we lived together during that time. And I know we talked a lot about like what was going on in the world, how people were reacting to it. And like even just seeing certain churches and how they responded to COVID and, you know, like mask mandates and things like that. Like it just really gave me the ick.
Yeah.
And even with all of the, like with George Floyd and like things like that. And it was like 2020, it was the election. There was so much happening and religion just started to feel so politicized at that point that I was just kind of like, I'm done. Like, and I couldn't really put words to it, but I think now that I'm like reflecting on it, it was definitely like me just being disappointed with how the church responded to things, not necessarily like Christianity. It was just more the church's response.
Right.
And so currently,
and you're referring to the American Evangelical Church.
Yeah. So currently still not going to church. Not too sure if I'm ever going to be going to church again. We started going to a different Bible study that met virtually with people that like I really didn't know. I mean, I knew I had met a couple of them, but like what was different about this Bible study, and you eventually ended up joining, but it was like people from all different walks of life. And we were talking about topics that were like, that span from like women in leadership to racism in the church. like homophobia in the church. So we like covered all of these really like
tough subjects that normally is not covered. At least in my experience, is not covered in church.
Yeah, right? And I don't want to speak for you, but like talking in that space with those people, it was really enlightening, refreshing to like hear other people's perspectives. And I realized like in that moment, I don't necessarily need that church setting or want that church setting anymore. I enjoy just having those conversations about topics that matter with people.
Yeah. Totally.
And I really can't picture myself ever going to church again.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I feel I don't know. I feel weird saying this.
I think we have probably a similar path that we took, because we were living together in 2020. That's when kind of things, that year, I think everyone universally kind of felt like that year was like a big reset for a lot of things, right? And it's like church and work and kind of all the areas and aspects of life that we were used to kind of came to a halt, right? Like a screeching halt, where it's like, oh, like I'm just home all the time, and I'm not going to work, I'm not going to church, all this, and it gave us time to really think about, like what you're saying, how we are connecting with the world, and like church. I think that's around the time, well, not right away, because if you recall, I was working still really hard on church stuff during the pandemic.
Yeah, you were.
And even when my job was like, okay, you guys have to stay home, those days off, like I spent,
it was your full-time job. Yeah. No, but like for real though,
I spent a lot of time working on church stuff and I think that really contributed to burnout for me. Is like I just felt kind of, I had been going to church for, I think by that time 10 years, or close to it, and I had been doing so much, and it got to a point where I don't know what it is, but like I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. That's really where I was like, that was the feeling. I was like, I didn't want to serve anymore, because it's like I was doing it for so long and I had put so much energy into it, and at a certain point, I think that's what you call burnout, I assume, right? Those are like the symptoms of it. So yeah, and everything you said about how the American evangelical church kind of responded to what was happening in the world, I was like, this doesn't seem right. Something about it wasn't. And I think that's what I should have mentioned before too, is like I grew up kind of learning this way of this. It was like a worldview, right? I learned this worldview in this Christian bubble, and then as I got older, I was beginning to see and receive new information outside of that bubble, right? And I was having to deal with this new information from people who, like real people who are experiencing these real things. I was having to kind of reconcile in my head and in my heart, like what I was taught and what I'm hearing. They're not like lining up, So it was at that moment where it's like, okay, like let me take a step back and really explore what this is all about, right? Yeah. So that's when COVID kind of gave us like a way out, or like an out for not having to go to church. And that's when I stopped going to church, is after because we weren't meeting anyway in person, and then I was working on the church stuff. I can't remember how I got out of that, actually. I may have just like kind of phased out of that, and then eventually never really went back. And my current state is I don't really have a desire to go to church at the moment, right? I can't speak for future me, but like in this season of life, I don't really have a desire to attend church, because something about it is like, I think the idea of church is, I'm still excited about it, but like when I actually thinking about me having to go, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that, and if I were to go back, it's like I would want to go as a person who just goes to church. I don't want to serve, or like, because I'm still kind of feeling that burnt out feeling, whatever that is. it makes me not want to serve. And I don't, if I were to go back, I don't think I would want to serve right away. And yeah, and like that comes with feelings of guilt, right? Because your whole life you're like, oh, you got to go to church and you got to serve and this and that, right? And so that's kind of feelings of guilt that I'm dealing with. It's like, am I not doing my part? Am I not, as I'm exploring my own path, like, am I in some way failing, So, but that's where I am and that's where you are. We're not currently going to church, no desire to attend church at the moment. Yeah. That's not to say never once in all of this, I never once stopped or like ended my relationship with God. We attended the Bible study and I'm still a firm believer in like praying, and I listen to worship music all the time, and my connection and relationship with God never ended. It was more my connection and relationship to church. And I know that has like several meanings for different people, right? So mainly at like me going to a physical building and attending church. And I know people are like, oh, but you need community and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I was able to find community somewhere else. And I don't know, just like, that's how it was. Like I wasn't craving any, like, I didn't feel like I was missing. Do you feel like you're missing any kind of like something? No. Well, maybe not you, but like.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I don't agree. Well, for me, I don't have the same experience where I don't know how I feel about God at the moment.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah.
And also like not sure. Yeah. I just don't know what I believe right now.
And that's,
so,
that's fine. So, and again, I think this is, some people don't understand that you can love something so much and like love the church and love God so much, but at the same time you can be critical of this thing that you've been raised on. And it's like, you should be able to think through it, like to have your own thoughts and explore your own questions and ask questions and do all that. And so this thing that you love so much, you should also be critical of it. So when something feels off, or if something doesn't line up with what you've been taught, or if you're hearing stories from other people who have maybe been hurt by the church, or who, have a different experience of God, of church than you should be able to take those two and kind of figure out, a way to kind of process through that without, like you said, like without someone just telling you what to think. You should be able to come up with your own conclusions, come to your own conclusions with your own experiences, whatever that may be for you. So for future me, I still see, if I were like to look into the future, I see myself attending church in the future. I don't know when or how far out, but I do think there's a time where I will probably find my way back to church, but it would have to be a church that, isn't like super like politicized, and because I don't think, and this might be a hot take, but like I don't think anything from the pulpit should have anything to do with politics or any of that sort of thing. And that's like an immediate turnoff for me. And even with the rise of like Christian nationalism and all that, just like this whole like thing, this whole movement of like God is like Republican, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, what are you saying? It's just a huge turnoff. What do you have any experience with that?
No, for sure. I mean, for me, like future, I can't really see myself going back to church, but like I do. It's so hard. I don't know. Like I do still believe in God. Like I think I can say that pretty confidently.
You don't have to like solve your spiritual crisis on the pod right here.
No. I think I can say that and like know that I'm like, I know that I think there's a higher power, and I do find comfort in praying, all of that. I don't think I'm going to be going to a church for a while, if at all. And yeah, I think I do love these conversations, because I feel like that's my church.
Truly, yeah.
And that's all I feel like I really need at this point.
Well, and when you talked about like that Bible study that we ended up going to, I think we like that so much is because we used to do that as roommates.
Yeah.
We would have these kind of deep theological, philosophical conversations in our own home during a time when the world seemed like it was falling apart. So we would have these discussions, and that's what that Bible study kind of felt like. It was like, oh, like we're not the only ones who were kind of sorting through this stuff. You know, we weren't the only ones asking these questions. We weren't the only ones kind of wrestling with these things that we were taught when we were younger and now like may or may not kind of agree with, you know, now that we're older. So we found other people who with those same kind of thought processes, and we were able to share and commune with those people. So that was like a good time.
And I'm not saying I will never go back into a church. Like I'm open to it.
Right.
It's just, you know, right now, and kind of what you said, like right now and like into the near future, I can't see myself there.
I'm the same way.
And that I don't know why I feel so awkward right now.
No, I think, and I don't think anyone who knows us personally, right? People who know us personally, they know who we are, like as like ourselves, right? Like we're not trying to be fake or put on a show, and like we want to be as real and authentic as possible. And I think the people who really know us, they know our hearts and our intentions. It's not like we're not trying to like, you know, tear the whole thing down or whatever. It's like everyone, like, do you, like, if you want to go to, like when my brother was visiting, when my mom was visiting, I would go to church with them because there's something about going to church with people there's something there. Like there's a spark or there's some kind of magic there where it's like, cool, like we're as a family, we're going to go to church. And I genuinely enjoyed all those times when I was going to church with my mom. But like now it's like, now that it's just me and I don't, you know, no one's like kind of forcing me to go, I'm like, okay, like I don't need to go to church. And I'm sure we're going to get all kinds of flack about that.
I know. But I would love to hear it.
Yeah, no, I'm always open to conversation. And this is us kind of telling and sharing like our story, that this is how we feel right now.
And I think like looking back at that time, I mean, like me looking back in college and high school, like those times I had were so great and so great for that season of life for me. And then moving into like post-college, meeting all of those friends, like that was so fun. Like we had
those are tender memories.
We had a blast. Like it was such a great time. And it's just, I think it's okay for seasons to change and end, and for you to grow and evolve. And because we're all kind of growing as the church is growing, right? Like, because things are just being pushed and pulled apart in so many ways. So I think that the issues that I have with the church are with the people that refuse to grow and evolve. You know what I mean? That are kind of like stuck
in kind of old ways.
And aren't open to that.
They're not open to conversation or dialogue.
And I think at that time it was like, so those voices were so loud.
Interesting. Okay.
They weren't willing to have conversations like that. You know what I mean?
I think that's what we were obviously we were craving that since we were doing it in the house. But like we wanted people who were open to, not necessarily, I don't think any one person has like the answer, right? But it's like we wanted we were craving a community that was open to these questions and was maybe even asking the same questions and was willing to walk with us, walk beside us, and kind of wrestle with these things, not just like, well, you're wrong, so
exactly,
see ya at hell, you know, whatever. I don't know,
for sure. No, definitely. We were both craving that so much. Well, all four of us, I feel like, not to speak for our roommates, but like I do feel like we all kind of needed that outlet. And I don't know, it's just I don't know, it's just our life. It's our history.
Well, it's who we are. And that's just how we are. This is our current state, you know, and who knows what the future may bring. You could have revelation, and all of a sudden you're the head pastor of a church. Who knows?
Imagine. I do have a minor in Bible, so yeah. But I think it's good that we like talked about this because it gives our roomies context, because we do a lot of bits that are faith
church related bits.
So if you come out on the pod.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bet there are probably several roomies out there who may have a very similar experience to what we have, you know. And if you are, just know, hey, there's a couple of people right now you're listening to who are, you know, we're kind of wrestling with the same stuff, and maybe you're not. Maybe you're like totally like church, go God, perfect.
Or no church,
no God. Yeah. Like let's have a conversation. Let's dialogue.
Yeah. Keep asking questions. Keep being curious.
Keep asking questions. Keep being curious. Yes. Let me ring this bell, and then you can have some final thoughts if you have any.
Okay. That was so formal. Actually, I think we should invite the band up. Let's bring the house lights down. And
did you just want to close in prayer, Hannah?
We're just going to close in prayer. So everybody, please
bow your heads.
Close your heads. Dear Daddy God.
Oh my God.
We are so grateful for this time that we've had recording. And we just ask you to just uplift our roomies. Let's uplift our pod on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts.
We pray for every 5-star rating.
On YouTube. Pray that you just hit that like button, that you hit that subscribe button. We're going to hell.
We are.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not.
I am. Anyway.
Final thoughts. I think it's okay to.
Let's end on a fun note.
Go ahead.
Got some like rapid fire questions. Favorite worship song?
Probably a hymn, some kind of hymn. I don't know. You're catching me off guard.
Okay. Top of favorite. Just name us a worship song you love.
You're not gonna say Oceans?
I literally was gonna say Oceans.
Not Oceans. A hymn. Whatever hymn.
Okay, you suck.
I know.
Okay, favorite place to get a post church lunch?
Oh, post church lunch, easy. Red Robin.
Oh, we
With
did
the fries.
frequent that.
Bottomless fries.
Okay, what was your favorite worship song to lead the church in?
Oh, well, that's a different question. I like to sing. Oh gosh. Hold on. Fly. Not the other one. Not I'll Fly Away. The other one. It's with a banjo. I didn't play a banjo, but I always imagined.
What?
A banjo. Hold on, please hold. Yeah, no, it's
My best friend was born in.
No, why am I blanking? It doesn't matter. It'll come to me. Okay, keep talking. It'll come to me.
Favorite Christian band growing up?
Oh, well, I mean, Christian artist would be Phil Wickham.
Okay.
You?
Not like DC Talk.
DC Talk. It wasn't my favorite, but I love DC Talk.
I mean, well, I'm different. I didn't really grow up with Hillsong.
The very first concert I went to, I think, was Hillsong at Staples Center.
Stop.
When it was still Staples Center. And it was cringe, dude. Like, I realized pretty quickly that I don't like going to Christian concerts because it's like a weird
vibe. Do you want to know something crazy? I went to a Hillsong concert. I think it was Hillsong, or it was like a worship music festival, like up north in Fresno.
Like Passion, but not Passion.
Maybe. Okay. But I went with our friend Amber.
Okay.
And then a couple of other friends. Yeah. And they all knew Lorenzo, and Lorenzo was there with a different group of people. And
were you already dating?
No, this was way before.
Oh, way before you were dating.
Way before, years before.
Okay.
And they said hi to Lorenzo, and I didn't even know that he would be my future husband. And that's God works in mysterious ways.
Like the Lord.
Like that's proof. Like that's the proof you need right there.
This song is really bugging me, Hannah. Why can't I remember?
You said it's not I'll Fly Away?
No, the other one.
I'm in the glory land way?
No.
Come and dine?
No. It's David Crowder. David Crowder did a good.
About the titles of some of the worship songs.
David
Come and Dine. Ayo.
Come and Dine. Okay, Hannah.
Do you want to just pull out your guitar
How
right
He Loves?
Now? Nope.
Oh,
I saw
him.
the lights.
Oh,
That's why couldn't I think of that?
That was your favorite one to lead.
Okay. Because it's fun, especially when our friend Danny would play.
Friend of the pod. Roomie of the pod.
Our cicerone, our local cicerone, Danny.
Yeah, you know him, you love him.
Would lead worship with me, and he would sing the harmonies.
Yeah.
Such a good time. See, like I'm not anti-church.
No.
I'm just not going to church at the moment.
A beer and a banjo sounds like a great Friday night.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for sharing in this journey. If you want to share, maybe you have your own personal spiritual church God experience, shoot us a DM or an email.
And please forgive us if we didn't mean.
If we offended you or. If you're turned off by this,
I know, we're sorry.
Not sorry.
Actually, we're not. We're just telling our story, okay?
Well, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us.
How He loves us. Oh,
bye.